All right, so let's jump back to it. So it is asking for yeah. All right, so it is asking for what is the number of the packet that contains the get login. And these are the numbers. That's your SYN. That's your SYN ACK. That's your ACK. Hello. This is a secure connection, port 443. We see that there. Response back. And this is the data of the body. And we're looking for the get/login. That's at packet number 10. SMTPS POP3S and IMAPS. Adding TLS to SMTP and IMAP is no different than adding TLS to HTTP. Similar to how HTTP gets appended S. You know what? Let's look. I want to do some more work on TLS. This is the transport security layer. I'll do a little work on that. Make sure we have a good understanding of it. I'm gonna spend a little more time going over TLS, but for right now, we're going to finish out this module. So adding TLS to SMTP POP3 IMAP is no different than TLS to HTTP, similar to how HTTP gets an appended S for secure and becomes those with the S at the end. Will be the same thing for these other protocols respectively. Using these protocols over TLS is no different than using HTTP over TLS. Therefore, almost all the points from HTTPS discussion apply to the protocols. So I'm going to copy. So I already have these protocols listed here, but I'm gonna grab them again just to be sure, just to make sure that's on my radar to get a very good understanding of. And I'm getting better with it now, but It would only help the more familiar I am with it. I'll copy these and put this inside of the note. All right. TLS can be added to many other protocols. The reasoning and advantages will be similar. If you capture the network traffic, in which of the following protocols can you extract the credentials? So we see this has a S, this has a S, IMAP does not. So we'll go where IMAP, hit check. And the reason being is because that did not have a secure protocol as the other methods did. Therefore, it would be most likely and easily manipulated because it is vulnerable without the secure at the end. So cool, pretty straightforward. Now let's learn about SSH. We have used Telnet protocol in the network configurations room, although it is very all right. Although it is very convenient to log in and administer remote systems, it is risky when all the traffic is sent in clear text. It is easy for anyone monitoring the network to get a hold of your login credentials once you use Telnet. The problem necessitated a solution. This gentleman or young lady developed a secure shell protocol and released SSH1 in '95 as freeware. Interestingly, it was the same year that Netscape Communication released SSL 2.0 protocol, a more secure version of SSH. Okay, the OpenBSD developers released OpenSSH, and open source implementation of SSH. Nowadays, when you use SSH client, it is most likely based on the OSSH libraries and source code. Okay. So OpenSSH offers several benefits. We list a few of the key points: secure authentication, besides password-based authentication as a publicly key, and two-factor authentication. Confidentiality provides end-to-end encryption, protecting against eavesdropping. Furthermore, it notifies you of a new server. Integrity, in addition to protecting confidentiality of the exchange data. Cryptography also protects the integrity of the traffic. Tunneling SSH, a secure tunnel to the route. Other protocols through SSH. This setup leads to a VPN-like connection. Okay. X1140. If you connect to a Unix-like system with a GUI, SSH allows you to use the graphical application over the network. You issue the command SSH username at the host to connect to the server. If the username is the same as your logged in username, you will only need SSH hostname. Then you will be asked for a password. However, public key authentication is used. You will be logged in immediately. The screenshot below is an example of running Wireshark on a remote Kali Linux system. The argument -X is required to support running GUIs, for example, SSH on this hostname. The local system needs to have suitable graphical system install. So this is an example of the Wireshark network analyzer and what it looks like. Interesting. Okay. While Telnet server listens on port 23, SSH server listens on 22. What is the name of the open source implementation of the SSH protocol? Name of it. Open source implementation of the SSH protocol. What is the name of the open source implementation of the SSH protocol? Um, Open SSH. Okay. We'll move on to SFTP and FTPS. SFTP, it stands for SSH File Transfer Protocol. Secure file transfer. Secure file transfer. The SSH protocol suite and shares the same port. Port 22. If enabled in the Open SSH server configuration, you can connect using the command, the username at the host name. Once you're logged in, you can issue commands such as get file, put the file name to download, and upload files respectively. Generally speaking, SFTP commands are Unix-like and can differ from FTP commands. Should not be confused with FTPS. You're right to think that FTPS stands for File Transfer Protocol Secure. Yes, you're correct with the estimate that it is secure. Yep. Uses FTP uses port 21. FTPS usually uses port 990. So this stands for File Transfer Protocol Secure. Uses port 990. Setting up an SFTP server is easy, as embedding an option with the Open SSH server. HTTPS and other protocols that rely on TLS for security. FTPS requires a proper TLS certificate to run security. Access related site, follow the instructions on the site to obtain the appropriate flag. Let's see, what are we looking for? As we've learned in this module, every protocol uses a secure version uses a different default port number. In the following exercise, you need to match the clear text protocol default port number with the secure port default protocol number. For example, if this is on 80, okay. Well, that'll be pretty simple because we have I don't want to say a cheat sheet, but we have something to help us with that. Let me modify this a little bit so I can see it properly. And let me help you see it properly. drag over. Is it just me? But I don't see anything there to drag over. Oh, there we go. Maybe I just need to move this all the way over. Give me a second. Sorry about that. I think this is going to require a little more room than what I had originally thought. So port 995 is going to be a secure protocol. Wait a minute. So port 80 is good. Port 23. So does it want me to match it with the corresponding port number? Yeah, so port 80 would be with 443. Port 143 will be with 993. Port 21. What is port 21? Port 110 is your pop. That's going to be 995. Port 25 is 465 and 587. So 21 should be with 990. Hey, we got it right. So let's just copy this, paste this baby in. Oh, it doesn't want me to paste it in. We'll just type it out. This will be THMPROTOCOLOS underscore SECUR 3D. We're good. All right. Let's move on to networking protocols. Now, there should be a way to close this thing out. I just have to refresh the page. Yeah, that works. VPN. Consider a company with offices in different geographical locations. All right, there we go. Consider a company with offices in different geographical locations. Can this company connect all its offices and sites to the main branch so that any device can access the shared resources as if it is physically located in the main branch? Yes. Furthermore, the most economical solution will be setting up a VPN, virtual private network. The focus here is on V for virtual. When the internet is designed, the TCP/IP protocols focused on delivering packets for a simple router inside a service. The routing protocols can adopt. Okay. The solution is another VPN. The focus here is to be for private. So focus on delivering packets first, but the router gets routing protocols can adapt and pick up different routes to send their packets. If a packet was not acknowledged, TCP has built-in mechanisms to detect the situation and resend. Mechanisms are in place to ensure that all data leaving or entering a computer is protected from disclosure and alteration. Okay. Popular solution was the setup of the VPN connection. The focus here is to plead for private. Makes sense. All companies require private information exchange in their virtual network, so a VPN provides a very convenient and relatively inexpensive solution. The main requirements are internet connectivity, the VPN server. I just connected to the VPN. So the blue lines establish the VPN tunnel. The VPN traffic is limited. The green lines would carry the decrypted VPN traffic. So anything that you use outside of the VPN discreetly, anything outside the VPN is in green, and you're using these devices to connect to a VPN, to connect to a virtual private network and have a secure connection back and forth. So what I did, we see two remote users using the VPN class to connect to the VPN server and the branches of this VPN client connects a single device. Once a VPN tunnel is established, all our internet traffic will usually be routed over the VPN connection. So consequently, when we try to access an internet service or application, they will not see our public IP address but the VPN server. This is why some internet users connect over VPN to circumvent geographical restrictions. Furthermore, the local ISP will only see encrypted traffic which limits its ability to censor internet access. In other words, if a user connects to a VPN server in Japan, they will appear to the servers they access as if located in Japan. These servers will customize their experience accordingly, such as redirecting them to Japanese version of servers. Screenshot below shows what the search results look like. Makes sense. Finally, although in many scenarios one would establish a VPN connection to route all traffic over the VPN tunnel, some VPN connections don't do this. The VPN server may be configured to give you access to a private network, but not to route the traffic. Expected to route all the traffic. I didn't know that. So a VPN could leak your IP address, and it is good to do a DNS link test depending on why you're using that VPN. Some countries consider using VPNs illegal and even punishable. Please check the local laws. Wow, didn't know that. What would you see to connect various company sites so users at a remote office can access resources located at a main branch? That is a VPN. Mm-hmm. Cool. So the closing notes. In this room, we cover three main approaches to secure network traffic. The first approach is the TLS, which provides a convenient way to secure many protocols. Secure with the TLS, usually get an S. The second approach to secure network traffic is use SSH, mainly used for remote access. It can also transfer files securely, establish secure tunnels. Creating an SSH tunnel is a solid choice if you want to pass the traffic. Other plain text protocols such as VNC We have set the browser to log the session's TLS keys so we can take a closer look into the traffic using Wireshark. This logging was achieved by adding an extra option to the browser shortcut. Dumps the TLS keys to the SSL key.log file. The packet captured is called saved in the documents folder. We can see the 5 steps to achieve this in the 2 screenshots first after. Right-clicking TLS packet. Choose protocol preferences for the sub-menu. Select transport layer security. Thirdly, click on open transport secure. Clicking open transport layer security. Preferences show how a dialog box. You must click the browse button. Okay, so this is how to navigate the Wireshark tool. One of the packets contains login credentials. What password did the user submit? So let's check this out. So we'll click Start Machine. All right, so open them up. Taking a minute for the machine to initialize, so we'll hang in there with it. But I do want to read over TLS, the transport layer. All right, so I'm assuming we'll open the terminal. Three, 336. No, 366. This is packet 366. Session data, application data. me see something. Let me actually close this thing here out. So this is pretty cool. This thing allows you to, and I think we learn about this next, so I'm looking forward to that. But basically what this does, the name of this program is, what was it, Windshare? I think it was Wireshark. And basically what it does is allow you to view the packets that are being sent from the client to the server. And obviously if they're secure, you won't be able to see much unless you have some form of encryption tool. But just based upon what you can see, it allows you to see the information that's being passed back and forth. And that's pretty cool. So I think we learn about that next, but I'm just trying to figure out now. Usually there is a machine IP that we can log in with. But I wonder if it just wants me to, if I'm already logged in this environment, and it just wants me to begin dissecting the data. Let's spend more time to look at this one. Oh, let's see something. It's that Wireshark. I don't even think I need to be in the terminal. I might be having a moment. Let's go with open. So it looks like it just gives you the instructions on how to use this baby. Let's see, how do we navigate this thing? File open. The logins achieved by adding extra option. The packet capture file is called. Okay, so we'll open this, and it's saved in the documents folder. And we open the packet capture. These are all the packets that were sent in this example or this transmission between the client and the server. And it said 366. And say when we open the packet capture file in Wireshark, you can see the secure. You can configure Wireshark to use this SSL key log. so that all the TLS traffic gets encrypted. You can see 5 steps to achieve this first. This is pretty neat. So I'm assuming this is what the tool looks like. Click on show a dialog box. You must click on the browse button before show the TLS encrypted and the package contains the log. We'll show the dialog box. You must click on the browse button. Preferences. Wait a minute. Protocol preferences from the subnet. And then look for TLS. There it is. Transport. Uh-oh. Hold on. I just did something. I don't know if I should have did it. Open transport layer security preferences. So right click. Protocol preferences. And transport security preferences. Open transport layer security preferences. That. Click on open transport layers. It will show the dialog box. You must click on the browse button. You must click on the browse button marked with 4 to locate the instances. Wait a minute. So it said look for chat packet number 336. That's what we're at. And I ain't ready for you yet, buddy. Minimize. And open transport security layer. TLS. TLS. Let me try this one. Keylog, yep, they're gonna open. Let's try this. TP from 2. So this is cool. I see you're trying to log into this Facebook account. So is this it? Is that it? THM 7BB 8W. No, that's not it. Is that not the pass it was looking for? Or is it just... So I wonder if it's everything. Try. So maybe it is everything %7 is the start and finish. So let me try BB8W M6. Okay. Let's try this one. THM. W6P. Yo, this thing is it's odd. It's just asking for the password. Did I miss something? What layer? Right click on the TLS packet, choose protocol preferences when transfer. Yep, will show a dialog box. You must click on the browse button, mark with the folder located SSL. You can find the documents directory. Okay, Wireshark with TLS. One of these packets contain login credentials. Must not be the right one, but it said it's 366. What am I missing, chat? All right, let me see. What am I missing with this one? It's always the last one that makes you sweat a little bit. This is Wireshark packet. Let me see. Am I in the wrong one? So I can close this and reopen it. Let me refresh it. I might be missing something. That picked me right up where I left off. Let's close this out. All right, so that's it. Packet capture. It's not going to choose that. Push the option. Packet capture file. So this is the name of the file. Saved into my documents folder. So that's the file. Configure Wireshark to use SSL-key.log file. So all the TLS traffic gets decrypted. You can see the 5 steps to achieve this below. First, after right-clicking any TLS packet, so right-click any packet and choose Protocol Preferences. A sub-menu is going to appear. Select Transport Layer Security thirdly. transport layer. Wait a minute. We got something off somewhere. Let me do it over here. Protocol. Preferences. Yep. Preferences. Clicking open will show the dialog box. I mean, this is the same dialog box, right? Yeah. 4. Okay. So maybe I was clicking on the wrong browse. To locate the SSL.keylog, which is here. Finally click OK. OK or open? Okay. Now click OK. Whew. And it wants us to go to packet 366, which is on further down. Let's check that out now. 366. No, 336. 366. So this is the decrypted version, just a bunch of numbers and characters. But what we want to do is right click and do protocol. No, do follow TTP stream. THM, is it B? 8WM6P? I don't think that's it either. Oh, hey, that was it. Go me, go me, go me. All right. Start the next room. Now, the next one is Wireshark. This is an actual program, so I need to spend a little bit of time or maybe doing some research on this because this seems to get pretty in depth. And we can close this out. I think you can terminate the machine. Traffic sniffing, you can use this button. Okay. Traffic distinction. All right. So, but let's look at a little bit at this transport layer. TLS, transport layer security. Because I want to make sure I have a good understanding of this, as we will need this to help us with identifying packets, and we just need to get comfortable with it. So let me see. Encrypts data sent over the internet to ensure evaders and hackers are unable to see what you transmit, which is particularly useful for hacking. So the TLS is a cryptographic protocol that provides end-to-end security of data sent between applications over the internet. It's mostly familiar to users. It's used in secure web browsing, particularly the padlock icon that appears in web browsers. However, it can be indeed It can indeed should also be used for other applications such as emails, files, etc. Developed by Netscape in '94, and wow, developed by Netscape back in '94. It's crazy how these protocols still remain the standard, the gold standard, even today, after all that time has passed. Now, this is back in '94. That's over 30 years ago. And I'm sure there have been different versions and iterations and updates made since then, but the protocol pretty much remains the same. So that's pretty cool. The fallback mode. This is not considered secure. Recommendation that TLS 102 should be used. TLS 102 is also currently as a decent continuing development and will drop support for less secure algorithms. Makes sense. Why should I care about it? I'm increasingly ordered these invaders and attackers are great and more pervasive than previously thought. We therefore released a statement in 2014 calling on protocol designers, developers, and operators to make encryption remain the traffic, which essentially means making it confidential. Makes sense. So I guess initially, when data was being transmitted, everything was unencrypted over the internet unless it was something piecemeal together, such as passwords, payments, etc. But now the encryption has become the gold standard. So makes sense. Good to hear. Let's carry on. Without TLS, sensitive information, logins, credit card details, personal details can easily be gleaned by others, but also browsing habits, email, correspondence, online chat, conferencing calls can be monitored by enabling client server applications to support TLS. It ensures that data transmitted between them is encrypted with secure algorithms and not viewable by third parties. Recent versions of all major web browsers currently support TLS. It's increasingly common for web browsers to support TLS by default, however. So how does it work? What I want to get to. Uses a combination of symmetric and asymmetric. Uses symmetric and asymmetric graphy. That's a good compromise between performance and security. Yep. With symmetric cryptography, data is encrypted and decrypted with a secret key. Symmetric. I think this is probably covered later on, but I want to begin to get familiar with it now. It's encrypted and decrypted with a secret key known to both the sender and recipient. typically 128, but preferably 256 bits. 256 bits. And computation that having common secret key means it needs to be shared in a secure manner. Makes sense. So this is just the format in which it gets sent, how it's encrypted in the character length. Asymmetric cryptography uses key pairs, a public key and a private key. Cryptography uses key pairs, public and private key. That's too low. Let you divide the private key from the public key. Given a sufficient key length, private key from the public key. This allows the public key. This allows the public key of the recipient to be used by the sender to encrypt the data they wish to send over, but the data can only be decrypted with the private key of the recipient. Process of sharing encryption keys does not have to be secure, but the mathematical relationship between public and private keys mean that much larger key sizes are required. The recommended minimum sometimes more symmetrical keys of equivalent strength. Asymmetric encryption too slow. This uses asymmetric for security, generating and exchanging a session. The session key is used for encrypting data transmitted by one party, decrypting the data received at the other end. Once the session is over, the session is discarded. So now it talks about the different types. So basically it works by exchanging symmetrical and asymmetrical cryptography, the sharing of keys. So it's able to validate ownership of the service public key. Entity that issues digital certificates conforming to the ITU, standard for public keys. Digital certificates certify the public key of the owner of the certificate known as the subject, and that the owner controls the domain being secured by the certificate. The CA therefore acts as a trusted third party that gives clients and parties assurance and they are connected to the server. So let's get into this one. CA, certificate authority, issues digital certificates. Conforming ITU SSL validated through a chain of trust. And the root certificate, otherwise known as a trust anchor, with asymmetric cryptography, it is possible to use the private key of the root certificate to sign other certificates, which can be validated using the public key of the root certificate and therefore inherit the trust of the issuer. In practice, entity certificates are usually signed by one or more intermediate certificates, sometimes known as a subordinate or sub-CAs. Okay. Root certificate trust is normally established through physical distribution of the root certificates in operating systems or browser. Root certificates distributed with major operating system browsers are said to be publicly or globally trusted. The technical and audit requirements essentially means the issuing CAs are multinational corporations or governments. There are currently around 50 public trusted CAs, although most all have more than one root certificate, and most are also members of the CA Browser Forum, which develops industry guidelines for issuing and managing certificates. It is, however, possible to establish private CAs and establish trust through secure distribution and installation of root certificate. Examples include RPKI CAs operated by the regional internet registries. All right, so this just kind of gets into it. So that's a good high-level overview. Let's see what Cloudflare has. Adopt this with design facilitate private data. Primary use case of TLS encryption communication between web application and servers such as browsers and loading websites. TLS can be used to encrypt other communications such as email messaging. Oh, I like that. I may try to create that little animation. I like that. TLS is proposed by the Internet Engineering Task Force, an international standard organization, and the first version of the protocol was established in 1999. The most recent, man, didn't realize that it was such a world, man. You got your well engineered networking police and all of these different standards and organizations and groups that make sure everything is secure. Man, it is it's an entire world out there. Didn't even have a clue. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. So let's get into this next paragraph here. Hold on. What does work want? Make sure work doesn't want anything important. Yeah, nothing crazy. Cool. What is the difference between TLS and SSL? TLS evolved from a previous encryption protocol called Secure Sockets Layer, which was developed by Netscape. TLS's version 1.0 actually began development as an SSL version 3.0. So it originally started with SSL, which was the Secure Sockets Layer, but now it has evolved to TLS, which is the new standard. Changed before publication in order to indicate that they're no longer associated. Because of this history, the term TLS and SSL sometimes interchangeable. Okay. What is the difference between TLS and HTTPS? PS is an implementation of TLS, correct? Encryption on top of the HTTP protocol, which is used by all websites as well as some other web services. Any website uses HTTPS, therefore employing TLS encryption. Why should businesses and applications use the TLS protocol? I would assume to make sure your data is secure, can help protect web applications from data breaches, and other attacks. TLS is protected HTTPS standard practice for websites. The Google Chrome browser gradually cracked down on non-HTTPS websites, and other browsers have followed suit. Everyday internet users are more wary of websites that do not feature the T padlock icon. Yeah, learned about it years and years ago. Never at this extent, of course, but certainly identify its importance over the years. And let me get some juice in my laptop. All right. What does the TLS do? Three main components to what the TLS protocol accomplishes. Encryption hides the data being transferred from third parties. Authentication ensures that the parties exchanging info are who they say they are. Integrity verifies the data has not been forged or tampered with. Okay. What is a TLS certificate? For a website or application to use TLS, it must have a TLS certificate installed on its original server. Certificate is also known as an SSL certificate. Issued by a certificate authority to the person or business that owns the domain, a domain. There's important information about who owns the domain along with the server's public key, both of which are important for validating the server's identity. So certainly serves a purpose, but that is the TLS certificate. In order for a website or app to use TLS, it must have a certificate installed on its origin server. The certificate is also known as SSL certificate. The certificate is issued by the appropriate authority or person that owns the domain. The certificate contains important information about who owns the domain along with the server's public key, both of which are important for validating the server's identity. So now, how does it work? So let's see how much it differs from what we just read on the prior site. And I should have kept up with that site. Typically I do, just so I can always refer back to it in the event I need to explain it or clarify or whatever it is I may need to do. But for some reason, I guess I just closed it out, but I can always go back and get it. A TLS connection is initiated using a sequence called a handshake. Initiated specify a handshake. TLS. User navigates to a website. They use TLS. The TLS handshake begins between user navigates TLS. The handshake begins between the user device, also known as the client, and the server. Handshake begins between the client and web server. During the handshake, the user device and the web server specify which version of the TLS decide on which cipher suites CIPHR suites authenticate the identity of the server using the server's TLS certificate. And then it generates a session key. So basically what it does, from what I understand, is you navigate to a website that requires or that has a TLS in place. Your device, which will be the client, is going to communicate with the server by initiating a TLS handshake. During this process, you're going to specify which version of the TLS is going to be used, decide on which cipher suites, and those are going to be spoken about in a moment. After that, you're going to authenticate the identity on the server using the server's TLS certificate so you can identify the client. And then from there, you'll generate a session, which will basically, it's like a boarding pass that's going to be given back to the client to establish the handshake between the client and the server. So nothing new under the sun, but always good to get a reminder of how it works and learn it at a deeper level than what we may have been aware of previously. So this is good stuff. So now we're moving on to the following portion of this. It says the TLS handshake is a cipher suite for each communication session. The cipher suite is a set of algorithms that specify details such as which shared encryption keys or session keys will be used for that particular session. It's able to set the matching session keys over an unencrypted channel thanks to technology known as public key cryptography. Okay, it's the first time I've heard of that term. All good. The handshake also handles authentication, which usually consists of the server providing its identity to the client. This is done using public key. Public keys are encryption keys that use one-way encryption, meaning that anyone with the public key can unscramble the data encrypted with the server's private key to ensure its authenticity. But only the original sender can encrypt data with the private key. The server's public key is part of the TLS certificate. Handshake handles authentication. see. Handshake handles authentication, which consists of the server proving its identity to the client. This is done public keys. Encryption keys. This is kind of like the tamper-proof foil file on the bottom of aspirin. The consumer knows. Okay, so basically, this process is the communication between the client and the server. Once the data is encrypted and authenticated, it is signed with the message authentication code, which is the MAC. The recipient can then verify the MAC to ensure the integrity of the data. This is kind of like a tamper-proof foil found on the bottom of aspirin. The consumer knows no one tampered with this medicine because the foil is intact when they purchased it. Same thing like a water bottle. You know that a water bottle is unopened because it has the little seal around the cap and on the bottle. That would be your way of knowing that you have a unopened water bottle that has not been used and it is safe as can be for you to go ahead and digest or do whatever you need to do with the water. So how does TLS affect the web application performance and later version hardly impacting? Okay, because of this complex process involved in the setting up the TLS, for instance, some load time and computer power must be expended. The client server must communicate back and forth several times before any data is transmitted, and that eats up precious milliseconds of load times for web applications, as well as some memory for both. There are technologies in place that help mitigate potential latency created by the TLS handshake. One is TLS false start, which lets the server and client start transmitting data before the TLS handshake is complete. Another technology to speed up TLS is TLS session resumption. So Cloudflare offers a free TLS SSL certificate to all users. What is this talking about? Let's check this out a little bit. SSL certificates. Data without slowing down apps. Save time until information keep certificates up to date to avoid browser security warnings. Okay, so this is part of the product solution suite offered by Cloudflare. I guess it kind of does all of the heavy lifting behind the scenes for you. What is an origin server definition? So respond to incoming requests from internet clients. The concept of an origin server is typically used in conjunction with the concept of this. Its core and origin server is this computer running one or more programs that are designed to listen for and process incoming internet requests, take all the responsibility of serving up the content for internet property, such as website, provide the traffic, extend the physical distance between an origin server and the client making a request, adds latency to the connection, increasing the time it takes for internet resource such as a web page execution around trip. Then the client and the origin server required for a secure internet connection using SSL, TSL. Also add additional latency to the request, directly impacting the experience of the client requesting data from the origin by using a CDN. Round trip time is able to be reduced, and the amount of requests to an origin server are also able to be reduced. So we see the benefits of that. What is the difference between an origin server and a CDN edge server? Put simply, CDN edge servers are computers placed in important junctions between major internet providers and locations across the globe in order to deliver content as quickly as possible. An edge server lives inside a CDN on the edge of a network and is specifically designed to quickly process requests by placing edge servers strategically inside of the Internet Exchange Points (IXPS) that exists between networks. The CDN is able to reduce the amount of time it takes to get to a particular location on the internet. So basically what this is smaller hubs, if you will, that give internet access to the user in a closer location, so that if I need to connect in a website that is clear across the world, I can use a CDN edge server, which is in place to give me that same website data just in a quicker fashion. The edge servers cache content in order to take the load off of one or more origin servers, removing static assets like images, HTML, and JavaScript files, and potentially other content as close as possible to the requesting client machine. The edge server cache is able to reduce the amount of time it takes for web resources to load. Origin servers still have an important function to play when using a CDN, as important server-side code such as databases of hash client credentials used for authentication are typically maintained inside of origin server. So what's cool about this is the edge server will cache the content so that as requests are made, if there's static data like the HTML, JavaScript data that won't change, that just lives on the website forever unless you go in and update the code, you're going to automatically get that cache. So you're not having to wait and send a request all the way to the server and get that request all the way back. It's just going to cache that data so you can immediately get access to it basically as quick as possible. Here's a simple example of how the edge server and origin server work together. The server for login page and allow the user to log into a service. A very simple login page requires the following static assets to be downloaded from the web page to render properly. The HTML file, which is going to be the backbone of the structure of the page. Your CSS is going to be the styling to give it some visual appeal. Several image files. You may have a picture or two of the website or whatever it is that you want to help the user better identify with. And then JavaScript libraries, these could be used for anything, so I won't get into that too much, but anything that provides activity. It can range anywhere from providing activity all the way to making requests. So I'll leave that at that. These files are static files. They are not dynamically generated and are the same for all visitors to the website. As a result, these files can be both cached and served to the client from the edge server. All of these files can be loaded closer to the client machine and without any bandwidth consumption by the origin. So this could be a way to better improve the performance of your website. If you have an edge server in place, that edge server can be configured to cache all of your static data so that if a user goes to your website, they're communicating with the edge server or the closest hub, if you will, to capture that data. And if that data is cached within the edge server, it's going to automatically provide it back to the user so that it's not making so many requests to your server, which, of course, impacts your rate limiting. It could impact the cost depending upon how things are used. And it just manages the overall workload of the server. So this is going to give you as a developer, if you're managing the backend or just managing the server itself, a great experience because your server is not being overworked. And of course, the end user is getting things immediately, which is basically the society that we live in. We like things immediately. We don't like to wait for things. So edge server is has a purpose and it's pretty cool. These files are standard. Next, when the user enters their login and password, they press login. The request for dynamic content travels back to the edge server, who then proxies the request back to the origin server. The origin then verifies the user's identity in the associated database table before sending the data back. So basically, with the login or in the login process, the user will enter in, they'll initially receive the cache HTML data, whatever is static, that's already provided by the web developer. Once the user begins to interact with the website by entering in a username and password, it still gets sent to the edge server, but the edge server is going to proxy that information or that request back to the origin server. The origin server is then going to verify the user's identity in the database and provide tables and whatever other information. I'm sorry, the origin then verifies the user's identity in the associated database table before sending back the specific account information. So what that flow looks like, you make the post request from the user, it goes to the edge server. The edge server then sends this information back to the origin server. If everything validates, the appropriate account information gets sent from the origin server back to the edge server. This interplay between the edge servers handling static content and origin servers serving up dynamic content is typically a separation of concerns when using a CDN. The capability of some CDNs can also extend beyond this simplistic model. Let me read that again. This interplay between edge servers handling static content and origin servers serving up dynamic content is a typical separation of concerns when using a CDN. The capability of some CDNs can also be extended beyond this simplistic model. So this is the typical behavior when using a edge server and an origin server. The edge server is going to be kind of like the gatekeeper. It's going to serve up all of the static data so that anything that just needs to be provided on the web page can automatically be provided from the edge server. And then if something comes that requires the origin server to get involved, the edge server is going to be that first layer that'll send it to the origin server, and then the origin server will send it back to the edge server. So that's pretty cool. Got a good understanding of that. Can the origin server still be attacked while using a CDN? Short answer is yes. A CDN does not render an origin server invincibly, but when used properly, it can render an origin server invisible, acting as a shield for upcoming requests. Hiding the real IP address of the origin server is an important part of setting up a CDN. As such, providers should recommend the IP address of the origin server be changed when implementing a CDN strategy in order to prevent a DDoS attack from going around the shield and hitting the origin directly. Cloudflare's CDN includes comprehensive DDoS protection. So this is pretty cool. So if you weren't familiar with the origin server, this is a origin server. If you're looking for a way to provide a safety net to your server to minimize its workload, to provide a faster experience back to the client, the origin and edge server relationship could be a valuable option for you. It seems as if a lot of the heavy lifting is already established with the agreement between the two, but there's also flexibility to make additional configurations based on your specific website and client needs. So this is something pretty cool, and I may have a further discussion about it, but if you didn't know about this, this is something that you may want to look into if you build applications for the public, or if you are looking to optimize the end user experience. This is certainly the initial step that I would consider, not initial, but this is certainly a step that I would consider to help provide a better user experience and to manage the workload on the server. So now, what is an SSL certificate? SSL certificates are what enables websites to use HTTPS, which is more secure than HTTP. A SSL certificate is a data file hosted in a website origin server. SSL certificates make SSL type TLS encryption possible, and they contain the website's public key and the website's identity along with related information. What enable websites to certificates are what enable communicate with the origin server will reference this file to obtain the public key. So the SSL certificate are what enable websites to use HTTPS. So in order to have that secure at the end, or have that secure HTTP connection, you must have a SSL certificate. This certificate is a data file hosted on the website's origin server. SSL certificates make SSL TLS encryption possible, and they contain the website's public key and website identity along with the related information. And we know that public key is what's needed in order for the requesting site to establish the connection needed between the two. Devices attempting to communicate with the origin server will reference this file to obtain the public key and verify the server's identity. Yep, the private key is kept secret and secure. All right, so what is SSL? More commonly called TLS, is a protocol for encrypting internet traffic and verifying server identity. Protocol for encrypting internet traffic and verifying server identity. Any website with HTTPS addresses uses the SSL. How do the SSL certificates work? Includes the following information on a single data file. Certificates include the following information in a single data file. Domain name that the certificate is issued for, person or organization, the device which certificate authority, associated domains, issue date, expiration date, issue expiration date, public key, which is private. All right. The public and private keys used for SSL are essentially long strings of characters and used for encrypting, and signing data. Data encrypted with public key can only be decrypted with a private key. Okay. The certificate is hosted on the website's origin server and sent to any device that requests to load the website. Most browsers enable users to view SSL certificate in Chrome. This can be done by clicking on the padlock icon on the left of the URL bar. I don't see one there, but I know this secure. Why do websites need an SSL certificate? A website needs an SSL certificate in order to keep the user data secure, verify ownership of the website, prevent attackers from creating a fake version of the site, and gain user trust. Trust, if I could speak. Encryption is possible because the public-private key pairing, the SSL certificates facilitate clients such as a web browser get the public key necessary to open a TLS connection from the server's SSL certificate. Authentication. SSL certificates verify that the client is talking to the correct server that actually owns the domain. This helps prevent domain spoofing and other kinds of attacks. Let me run through encryption again. Encryption is possible because the public-private key pairing that the SSL certificate facilitates clients, such as browsers, get the public key necessary to open a TLS connection from the server's SSL certificate. HTTPS most crucially for businesses, an SSL certificate is necessary for the PS web address. It's a secure form of HTTP, and PS websites are websites that have their traffic encrypted by SSL TLS. In addition to securing user data in transit, PS makes sites more trustworthy from a user perspective. Many users won't notice the difference between the P and the PS web address, but most browsers tag PS sites in noticeably ways, attempting to provide an incentive for switching to PS, increasingly security. Okay. So we'll obtain an SSL certificate. There's a website obtain SSL certificate to be valid. Domains need to obtain it from a certificate authority. It's an outside organization, a trusted third party that generates and gives out SSL certificates. The CA will also digitally sign the certificate with their own private key, allowing client devices to verify it. Most, but not all, CAs will charge a fee for issuing a SSL certificate. This issue, it needs to be established and activated on the website's origin server. Web hosting services can usually handle this for websites or website operators. Once it's activated on on origin server, the website will be able to load over PS and all traffic to and from the website will be encrypted and secure. So I wonder if my website, or one of them I should say, let me just look at one of these. I'm gonna look at a little focus tracker website that I'm building that I've deployed. Let me see something. We see that it is automatically has the secure or the S at the end of PS, so we know that it is secure. So I guess as it mentioned, most hosting domains provide that out of the box. Vercel includes it, so that's a good thing to see. I'm gonna probably work on this tonight too if you're interested to see it come along. I've actually made some changes to it that I haven't pushed to production. Let me see something. I can go to this, one of the feature off stages, and I thought I could, wait a minute, I know I can, I just need to get to it. You know what, I don't think I pushed it to, yeah, I didn't push it yet. Wait a minute, did I? So that's the login page. I think I named this dashboard. What did I name? Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole now. Let's see if I can remember. What other? Yeah, it was dashboard. So it wants me to log in. So no, I hadn't pushed it yet. Anyway, sorry, got a little sidetracked. But we'll close this out for now. Once the certificate is issued, it needs to be installed and activated on the website's origin server. Web hosting services handle this for the website operators. Yep. Once it's activated on the origin server, the website will be able to load over HTTPS. Let me see something. Vercel provide. What's the proper SSL certificate? Yep. Automatic SSL mentions it right here. I just want to make sure, and I know we looked at an actual live website and seen it, but that's cool. So if you were to use Vercel, it does provide it. Perfect. All right, what is a self-signed SSL certificate? Anyone can create their own SSL certificate by generating a public-private key pairing and including all the information mentioned above. Such certificates are called self-signed certificates because the digital signature used, instead of being from a CA, would be the website's own private key. Yep. It's Cloudflare CDN. You already read about this. Yep, we read about this one. We read about that. So I think next we have Wireshark, the basics. And then we have TCP dump and in-app dump. So I'm gonna spend some time and I'm gonna read up on this Wireshark. I don't have any experience with it, obviously, but Wireshark is an open source cross-platform network package analyzer tool capable of sniffing and investigating live traffic and inspecting packet captures, PCAP. It's commonly used as one of the best packet analyst tools. In this room, we will look at the basics of Wireshark and use it to perform fundamental packet analysis. Objective: navigate and configure Wireshark, inspect packets and discover information from different layers of TCP/IP, apply display filters. One second. All right, so let's get ready to get busy on Wireshark. Press the start machine button below to start the virtual environment. I'll close this out. I'm gonna close out who is networking secure protocol. I think this is a very good article. I'm going to read through it. This just basically outlines what we just read, but goes into a little bit more detail as well. Or the module that we just went through, I should say, not just read. But there was another article that defined the HTTP cycle that I thought would be very, very beneficial, that I'm going to take a deep dive into. Start machine, but I'm gonna bounce it in another window. Will it? Well, it should let me do it in a moment. Full screen, extend machine timer, terminate, split view. Oh, okay, so this may be where I can exit the split view. Okay, I guess reading is fundamental. I should have paid attention to that. It's all good. Hope everyone's doing well. Look, say hello. Let me know where you're stopping in from. Hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate the support. It means a lot. but just spending some time learning cybersecurity using TryHackMe.com to give me some structure. But of course, going to supplement that with external reading and doing different things on my own to reinforce the learning. Let's hit check. Oh, which file is used to simulate the screenshot? Which file is used to simulate? Oh, here we go. Let's paste this in. I guess we're going to do that. http://1.pcapng. Which file is used to answer the questions? I'm assuming that is exercise.pcapng. Cool. Awesome. I think I can expand this by some way, can I? Tool overview. Wireshark is one of the most potent traffic analyzer tools available in the wild. There are multiple purposes for its use. The name of this is Wireshark. Line it up right here. So this is at the wireshark.org. I'm assuming that I don't know how much of this I should learn. So there's someone that is in the industry that can give any advice. I am all ears, but I'm going to spend some time looking over this documentation just to become a little more abreast with it and to make sure there aren't some little nuggets that could be beneficial to me. But I'm going to, if anyone is familiar with the tool, like how in depth is it beneficial to really read this book? Is like, I'm assuming if I were a network analyzer or a networking engineer, I would use this all day. I'm not sure how much it gets used in this world, but if someone could share with me, I would be happy to have a conversation to understand it. What's going on, Mr. Tech Facts Hub? How you doing, brother? Which domain is best between Java backend or cybersecurity? Which domain is best? Are you asking which one I prefer between the two? Between Java backend and cybersecurity? I um I have quite a bit of experience with Java backend. Cybersecurity, man, I'm just getting my feet wet. I'm using tryhackme.com to give me some guided learning. So far, so good. Learn refresher, if you will, some stuff on network and starting to learn on not learn, but just reintroduce to the internet cycle and how everything's work. Oh, which one has the I think cybersecurity, man, is probably the way to go because companies, their attacks happen every day, almost every hour. There's always news articles about vulnerabilities, etc. And if you could provide a service to a client where you can help secure their infrastructure, their website, you can charge, I wouldn't say a premium, but that's one of those things where you can't just train a bot to do that. There has to be some human intervention to kind of help facilitate that process. Excuse me. With the back end engineer, a lot of those opportunities are now being replaced by AI. So, Yeah, there's always going to be a need for it. Java isn't going nowhere. It's one of those tried and true languages and very well established. But at the same time, I think there's more of an opportunity in the cybersecurity space, and you can start to write your own check based upon your experience and if you can do enough support within the gambit of it. Man, I appreciate that love, man. I like you too, my brother. I appreciate the love, man. I thank you a lot for that. I appreciate it, man. What are you working on right now, if you don't mind me asking? What are some things you working on right now, my brother? You don't mind me asking? Or my friend, you may be a young lady. You like me too? She is secure. Thank you so much. Yeah, but this is cool, man. This stuff, um, that's a good one. That's another. Those are two very interesting career choices, man. A network architect or a DevOps engineer. I haven't done a whole lot of homework on the salaries for the two, but if I had to guess, I would guess a architect because you establish the infrastructure, you kind of help maintain it in place. With the DevOps space, yes, you do quite a bit of a ground level establishment and you make sure that ecosystem is good. But a lot of that is automated after a certain point. And I guess you could probably say the same thing from a network architect. But if a company needs to expand, they need to downside, they're going to need that architect to kind of help make sure that they don't have any vulnerabilities within the networks. They can still access everything that they're looking for. Wherein with a DevOps engineer, once that cycle is created, you really just have to maintain it at that point. So my assumption would be a network architect, but I could be wrong on that. I didn't do some homework on that one. Let's see. Salary, average salary comparison. Hold on. Let's go. Average salary of dev ops engineer versus a network architect. Typically, DevOps engineer commands a higher salary. DevOps can command in a senior role, and this is just based off Google AI initial search, can range anywhere from 170 to 210. A network architect, 121 to 133. Wow. Very, very lucrative roles. Even the entry level role, zero to of a DevOps engineer, 0 to 2 years of experience, anywhere from 60 to 85,000, depending upon where you live and what you can negotiate. A network architect, entry level, 65 to 78. So those two are pretty comparable, but it looks like the average for a network architect is 110 to 121, and it doesn't provide a average for the DevOps engineer. But both of those are very good lucrative careers, and certainly would you couldn't go wrong with either one. Offers a faster salary growth and higher total comp. Focuses on the design and security of the network infrastructure, while DevOps bridge development and IT operation, focusing on automation and deployment pipelines. So, nah, makes sense. Couldn't go wrong with either one of those, man. Which one are you considering, or which one are you looking into? Hmm, One of the most potent traffic analyzer tools available. There are multiple purposes for detecting and troubleshooting network problems such as network load failures, failure points and congestion, detecting security anomalies such as rogue hosts, abnormal port usage and suspicious traffic, investigating and learning protocol details such as response codes and payload data. It's not an intrusion detection system or IDS. It only allows analysts to discover and investigate packets in depth. It also does not modify packets. It reads them, hence detecting any anomaly or network problem highly relies on the analyst's knowledge and investigation skills. So it's basically just a open source tool that anyone can use once downloaded and I guess set up appropriately. It's not going to do the work for you. It just allows you to analyze what's going on and address vulnerabilities as you see it. So pretty straightforward tool. Wireshark. What is Wireshark? Let's look into this a little bit. So I don't know much about this one, so I would like to get a decent understanding of it before I allow TryHackMe to run me through the code with it. What is Wireshark? Network packet analyzer. Network packet presents capture packet data. Think of a network packet analyzer as measuring device for examining what's happening inside of a network cable, just like an electrician uses a voltmeter for examining what's happening inside of an electric cable. At a higher level, of course, in the past, such tools were either very expensive, proprietary, or both. However, with the advent of Wireshark, this has changed. Wireshark is available free. Open source is one of the most basic. I might download this. I've never used this tool before, but if anyone's used it, I'd love to hear about your experience with it. What are some things you like and some things you would change with it, or if there's a better tool. This sounds like the industry standard, but I could be wrong. I'm going to rely on what TryHackMe.com teaches and what I absorb in my future studies. But it sounds like this is a universal standard. Maybe companies have something a little more proprietary of their own. I'm not sure, but if anyone knows, I would love to gather a little bit of insight about this tool and how it works and things of that sort. But we're going to keep reading. And available on Unix, Linux, and Windows, captures live packet data from network, open files containing packet. That's the next thing. I need to install Linux. I need to get me a thumb drive so I can back up the OS. I have an old laptop. You know what? I may go pick me up a thumb drive tomorrow so I can install it. So right now, man, I work as a people leader. I actually don't work specifically in tech anymore right now. I work in the people leadership industry where I lead and support people as we do various tasks throughout the day. Yeah, man. I enjoy tech. Got to go with what pays the best right now, and this is where a lot of my experience is, and compensation is the highest. But I'm a lifelong learner. I'll always be in tech, and I do more side work for people than I probably won't ever get back into doing a 9 to 5 working for an employer personally. I enjoy working for myself, but I am considering doing some collaborative work with some folks that have reached out for some things that they have going on that they could use a hand that I might be of assistance to. So to answer your question, I work as a people leader, not in the tech industry right now, not anymore anyway. I do a lot of my technical work on the side for friends, family, and various people that I come across that might need something from a service that I can provide to them. Wireshark captures packets and lets you examine the contents. Yeah, this is the exact same screenshot that we just seen. These are your packet numbers. This is the source, the destination. It is a DNS, so it's just the domain name server. Live capture from many different networks. Import files from many other captured programs. All right. System requirements. I'm not gonna worry about that just yet, but I am going to look at it. GUI opens with a single all-in-one page, which helps the user investigate the traffic in multiple ways at first glance. 5 sections will stand out. I'm hoping I can just open this like that. Cool. Main toolbar contains multiple windows and shortcuts, sniffing and processing, including filtering, sorting, summarizing, and exporting, merging. Does this export out to I'm assuming this is the main toolbar. Display filter, this UDP, TCP, HTTP, the main query and filtering section, recent files, list of recently, that is this. Investigated files, you can recall listed files with a double click. Capture filter and interfaces, that is this. And available sniffing points, network interface. The network interfaces is the connection point between the computer and the network. The software connection enables networking hardware. And the status bar, where's the status bar? Okay, I may not see that just yet. The picture below shows it. So this is what the toolbar display, recent, and capture filter, which we don't have, and the status bar is at the bottom. Loading PAC files. The above picture shows Wireshark empty interface. The only available information is the recently processed http1.pcap. Let's load that file and see Wireshark's detained packet presentation. Note that you can also use the file menu, dragging and dropping the file or double clicking on the file to load the PCAP. All right, what did it say do? If it's empty, the only available information is the recently processed HTTP1. Uh-oh. Now we can see the process file name, detailed number of packets, and packet details. Packet details are shown in 3 different panes, which allow us to discover them in different formats. So 43 total packets, 1 comment. HTTP1, this is the file name that it mentioned, and it also is listed there. This is the list of packets, the packet number, and all of the associated information go with the packet. Packet list pane. Summary of each packet source, destination address, protocol, packet info. You can click on the list to choose a packet for further investigation. Once you select the packet, the details will appear in other panes. So that is this. And once you click on one of these packets, we get the additional packet details listed here. Packet details panel, detail protocol breakdown of the packet, packet bytes pane, hex and decoded ASCII22, representation of the selected packet. It highlights the packet field depending upon the click section in the details pane. Cool, 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 cool. Coloring packets along with quick packet information. Wireshark also color packets in order of different conditions. I'm assuming this means color. And protocols to spot anomalies in protocols and captures quickly. This explains why almost everything is green in the given screenshot. This glance at the packet information can help track down exactly what you're looking for during an analysis. You can create a custom color rules to spot events of interest by using display filters, and we will cover them in the next room. Now let's focus on the defaults and understand how to view and use the represented data. So basically you have the ability to color code different packets or different indicators based upon whatever it is that you're looking for. Again, I'm not sure how much you would use this in a day in the life of a cybersecurity analyst or depending upon which field you work in. But if your job is to monitor the network and keep an eye on traffic, I'm assuming this would probably be very beneficial to you to have each packet identified by a certain color so that you can quickly identify whatever vulnerability or whatever it is that you want to put eyes on within the network that you're monitoring. So makes a lot of sense, but just wanted to identify that. Wireshark has two types of packet coloring methods: temporary rules that are only available during a program session, and permanent rules that are saved under the preference profile and available for the next program session. We need to create a permanent coloring. The default permanent coloring is shown below. So this is what it looks like. Traffic sniffing. You can use the blue shark button to start network sniffing, capturing traffic. The red button will stop the sniffing, and the green button will restart the sniffing process. The status bar will also provide the use sniffing interface and the number collected of packets. Merge PCAP files. Wireshark can combine two PCAP files into one single file. You can merge a file. You can use the file merge menu path to merge a PCAP with the process one. When you choose the second file, Wireshark will show the total number of packets in the selected file. Once you click open, it will merge the existing PCAP file with the chosen one and create a new PCAP file. Note that you need to save the merge PCAP file before, and here's what it looks like. File, merge, open that particular packet. That's the total number of packets, and you can save that merge and save these packets, it looks like, in a file name that of your choice. And I guess you have this option to further investigate those packets if you've seen something of concern, and that is why that exists. Okay. File view details. Knowing the file details is helpful, especially when working with multiple PCAP files. Sometimes you will need to know and recall the file details: file hash, capture time, capture file comments, interface, and statistics. To identify the file, classify, and prioritize it. You can view the details by following the statistics, capture file properties, or by clicking the PCAP icon located on the left button. Let's look at this. So that's where you'll see it and you close. Let me look at that again. Statistics, capture file properties, and these are the properties of the file, and that's where you can see it. Emphasize PCAPing file to answer the following questions. Let me see. Exercise.pcap. The capture file comments. Capture file. What is the flag? There it is. TryHackMe Wireshark demo. There it is. So you access it just as it described. Let me make sure that's right first. I think it is. Oh man, TryHackMe. Don't fail me now. Why are you spinning so long, my guy? There's a total number of packets. 58620. 58620. What is the SHA? Let me type that in because I mean that's the only flag I see. That got to be it. TryHackMe underscore wire shark underscore demo. I'll come wire share wire shark. There we go. I must add a space or something. What is the SHA 256 hash value? All right. What's this last question? What is the SHA 256 hash value of the captured file? Packets, time. Man, this thing is small. File name. Application, operating system, interface, measurement, time span, frame. Close this out. Open that up a little bit so I can barely see it. I don't think anything's cut off. I'm sorry if it is. I'm just trying to see this thing. It's asking for a SHA value. SHA 256 hash value. Sorry. If anybody knows where that is located, I'll take a. I think it was captured. No, it was statistics. Statistics, capture file properties. Oh, right here. SHA 256. The value? Oh man, this is a pretty long value. But let's pop it in. Bruh, I need you to. Oh, I'm going from different environments. Okay, there you go. I'll say, man, I ain't gonna be able to. I mean, I can, but geez, I don't want to type all that out. That's a long number to type. All right, so next thing is packet dissection. Now, I might need to pause this and come back because I think I need to step away for a minute. So what I might end up doing is stepping away for now, coming back, and we'll might code a little later on, or I might jump back into this, but I appreciate all the comments, the shares, the likes, all the love and support. Oh man, I might be able to do this without even looking. Hypertext. I mean, that's the. Wait a minute. Is it not hypertext transfer? It's okay. I'm going to read through this. Hypertext. Nah, it's not that. Transfer protocol. No, it's okay. I'm gonna come back to this. Hypertext. What is which markup language is used under the HTTP protocol? Let's see if we can find this. Yeah, I won't. I'm gonna do it the right way. I won't do it. I was just going to read this and figure it out, but that isn't the right way to go about this. We've been doing it the right way and reading and doing all that good stuff, so I'm gonna keep that going. But look, I appreciate everyone stopping by. Look, go ahead and subscribe. Show your boys some love. Give me a like. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the comments, questions, and feedback and all that good stuff. It makes this that much easier. But I will be back live. I don't know if I'll be doing learning later on or doing some coding to chill a little bit. But either way, I'll be back on a little later on. So thank you again.